All right, I'm going to say one more thing about Tamamo no Mae, the spirit that just escaped from the Sessho stone, the killing stone in Nasu, Japan. One more thing, and that is that as opposed to what we were talking about, earthquakes and hurricanes and floods and tsunamis and that sort of thing. And indeed, there was a recent earthquake and tsunami in around Nasu, Japan, actually not too far away in the Fukushima prefecture. But it wasn't like a huge hurricane or a huge earthquake or anything that was disastrous that caused like the meltdown in Fukushima back in 2011, was that? So it was, so I'm just going to say that perhaps, it's interesting that it happened right after the stone cracked open, but perhaps if the Tamamo spirit lives on, which it always weirdly does, like just when you think Tamamo has at her death's door, suddenly there's like a to be continued, almost like an awesome Netflix series. All right, almost like it's the Tamamo series. And so I'm just gonna say, perhaps when Tamamo comes back, it will be in the form of, a beautiful woman that somehow wreaks havoc on this planet by somehow tangling her web with another world leader of some sort. So I'm just saying that that's usually how it happens. It's always emperors, it's always world leaders. And so who knows? Maybe something like that will happen. We'll keep our eyes peeled. But for right now, let's talk about something else, okay? Have you ever experienced a poltergeist in your life? Have things ever moved inexplicably? Or have you ever been like hit or pinched or somehow touched by a non-entity? So today I have a story about a few people who I have met who have actually had such things happen to them in more than one occasion, and incidentally, an aggressive spirit kept kind of hounding them not too far after each of them had an experience on a Ouija board. By the way, take a moment to please like and subscribe, and click click that little bell next to the subscribe button, if you will, just so I can keep making videos just like this, just for you. These are my real life stories of the impossible. I'm Alon New, the man who knows, and around 1988, I was in Morgantown, West Virginia, when I met these two college-age girls, about 20 years old. They were friends of my then girlfriend, and we'll call them Kristen and Amy. And they were apparently still freaked out about this incident that had happened about a year before we met them. And they were apparently messing around with a Ouija board. And then right after that, the spirit kind of attached itself to them and started doing all kinds of things to them. Objects would literally fly across the room, they said. And it's difficult to believe people when they start saying things like that just because you're not there when it actually happens. You don't know who actually threw that object or how it ended up getting projectiled across the room. And they said that things actually fell from shelves without having been near them. Things would disappear and then reappear in places where they wouldn't ordinarily be. And so then they started feeling like the thing literally pinching them and sometimes smacking them. And sometimes they would trip and fall, and they would attribute this to the spirit. Now I could attribute that to like just, being a kind of, being just a young adult who still hasn't fully formed yet. But I can say that it's weird, right? I mean, so they said that basically after they moved to another place, they thought that they might get away from that spirit, that maybe it was a haunted house or something. But no, the thing kept following them. It literally would sometimes, be in the car with them, they said. And so it was interesting because at the time I took no real note of it. I was intrigued just because both of them were saying the same things about this thing. They were both experiencing the same thing. And of course they were both on that Ouija board, and therefore they could have both been freaked out for the same reason, or some kind of hypnotic suggestion was placed on them from having, encountered the Ouija board and whatever it was that they encountered through there. However, flash forward, okay? We're going to go to 2004, right around 2003, 2004. I was in Las Vegas. I was with my friend Randy Malcolm. Randy was, we were just talking about Ouija boards when suddenly he starts going, no way, not that, anything but that. And so I asked him, so what's up with that? And he said that basically the exact same thing happened to him. Now, when he told me the story in his own words. But basically, it was him and a friend basically encountering a Ouija board, playing around with it, not totally believing in it, and then suddenly some kind of spirit attaches itself to both of them, and all kinds of things happen. Objects are flying across the room, things are being misplaced, all kinds of weird stuff is going on. Then they start feeling like pinched and hit and slapped and smacked, and they start doing things. I think something even more drastic happened to him at that point. He's been deceased for a few years now, and so I can't actually go back and ask him. But it was interesting that he actually told me this story, and then right after that, in 2007, 2009, something like that, Paranormal Activity comes out by Paramount Films, right? Paramount Pictures puts out Paranormal Activity. Go watch that, because basically that movie is exactly that same story. Maybe a little bit like, hyped up a little bit by Hollywood, but the fact is, it's the same thing. It's the same story. Ouija board encounter, nobody totally believes what's going on, and then suddenly, boom, things start happening. They move away, and it follows them. I don't get it. Comment below if anything weird like that's ever happened to you. I don't totally believe in this. I've never experienced a poltergeist in my life, but tell me if you have, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.